Hello everyone, this is Alexis Michelle.
And I'm Kieron Cole, and welcome to another edition of Mate Selection. In our last episode, we talked about healthy mate selection, and today we're choosing to talk about why do you want to be in a relationship anyway. Alexis and I have taken the time to do some research about what are the top reasons why people want to be in a relationship. And what's really interesting, we found that when you put that question in Google, in the first page, nothing comes up. We saw results about why people get divorced, how to function in violent relationships.
Yes.
We saw all kinds of things, but there was nothing in all of Google, meaning that nothing showed up in the whole entire world as far as the main reason why people want to be in relationships. So when you want to talk about healthy mate selection and healthy relationships, we thought one of the first things to know is personally for yourself and maybe also for whoever you're considering to be in a relationship with, why do you all want to be in this relationship? Is that right?
Yeah.
Alexis, so let's start with the question. Why do people want to be in relationships?
I think there are a lot of things that influence people to want to be in a relationship, whether it's subconscious or whether it's consciously. And one of the things is belief systems, values. I think certain church teachings, society. One of the things that we were discussing was that, it's not really something I really thought about early in my earlier life. It was just kind of like you in school, boy likes girl, girl likes boy. And that's how we're kind of socialized into that whole relationship thing with not really understanding what is really influencing us to want to be in a relationship or to want to be in marriage. I think it's just a norm that's within society, and we're just kind of, I guess, engrafted into that, if that makes sense.
Okay. I know we sat together, we kind of came up with a list of some of the reasons why we believe a lot of people get into relationships. Let's take a few minutes and just kind of go back down and see if we can recreate that list, and then maybe come back in dialogue about some of the individual reasons.
Okay.
I remember one of the reasons on the list was lust/sex. A lot of people may get into relationships. I know, especially from that church place, they teach you that you're not supposed to have premarital sex and lust. So people talk about they get married to fulfill that flesh desire. We spoke about economic advancement. There are people that, hey, he's got this, she's got this, I'm about to get mine. So their whole motivation is to literally for economic benefit. We also, on that list, we talked about some people because of age, they may feel that, they're getting older now, it's time to settle down and get married. We talked about there may be some people who literally want to be married just for the sake of procreation.
Right.
I want to have a child, and it's funny, in our generation, people, women, they want to have children but don't want men, don't want husbands, don't want it's kind of crazy, but again, there's many reasons. Let's see, we talked about what's some of the other reasons that people wanted to.
We talked about socialization. Socialization is based on what my family did or my family didn't do. We talked about that, wanting to be better than our parents, and so that's the reason why we make certain choices when it comes to relationships. And so there are a myriad of things that influence us subconsciously or consciously on why we want to do relationship. But at the same time, I don't think we philosophically ask ourselves that personal question: why do I want to be in a relationship, or why do I feel the need to be in a relationship, or why do I feel the need to be married? Is it because my friends are doing it? Is it because my parents did it or my grandparents did it? Have I really paused to stop and think, why am I doing this?
Excellent. And I think that is a big question, because I think what we found out just in dialogue and in doing a little bit of research is this: until you can answer the why question, why am I doing this, the what and the how really kind of becomes irrelevant. And I thought it was really amazing when we did the research. We put the question in, what are the top reasons why people get into relationships? And Google had no answer. Worldwide, no one is really having the discussion about why do I want to be in a relationship. Right. And I think if you don't have a good reason why, then you tend to deal with whatever comes on the plate. And a lot of times, it will really explain to us why. When we Googled it, we found out reasons, about divorce, and we found out about broken relationships, we found out about abuse, we found out about all these different things. And I think we would probably see less of those things if people sat down and had the honest dialogue with themselves. Why do I want to be in a relationship? And then I think if you answer that, then you ask the question, why do I want to be in a relationship with this person? Why did I choose that? And I think even more so, if you know why you want to be in a relationship, is the person I'm choosing fitting into my why?
Right. And I think also too, to add to that is, if you ask yourself that question, and even if you come up with I don't know, that's okay. Because now that gives you the opportunity to begin to discover or to research, why am I really doing relationship, and really get to look at self. And I think that's like one of the things that we don't really want to look at self when it comes to relationship. A lot of times, you know, we have a very creative imagination when it comes to how we think relationships should be, or what we think should go on in relationship, when the reality of it is that relationship is about building substance and not building fantasy, if that makes sense.
Wow, that's kind of heavy there.
Yeah.
It's building substance and not
fantasy.
I like that. One of the things we found out that was really, what was the question? The influencers of relationship was belief system and values. And I think that's probably one of the things that people touch on the least. When we talk, you know, if you meet somebody, you know, we'll talk about family, and we'll talk about, you know, your career, and we'll talk about, you know,
what school you went to,
exactly, and you know, we're gonna have sex. You know, we talk about things, but we really don't sit down and talk about belief system and values. And I think when you throw the word beliefs out there, first thing people go, or a lot of people will go to the spiritual place, like, do we have the same religious beliefs? And is that important? I think for some people it could be, and for others it's not. But beliefs are greater than that. Do we have the same moral beliefs? Are we on track for where we're trying to be corporally as a family entity or as a unit?
And also, too, do we have the same belief system about raising children?
And these things. And I think a lot of times what we're happening, I think why we're seeing divorce and breakups and fallout is because at the core of everything, we realize, you know what, though I may have been physically attracted to this person, or though, you know what, we may have had this connection or this chemistry, when it came down to it, one of the reasons we struggle is because we have different belief systems in the areas that are causing our trouble. Because you could have there are a lot of things on the table, but really it's the core areas of the individuals involved that, guess what, our belief systems may be different. And at a risk of sounding real churchy, that's why I always talk about the power of agreement. The Bible said to us, can two walk together unless they be agreed? So what happens is, if we don't agree on a belief system in an area, that will be the area where we see devastation, heartache, heartbreak, and pain.
Right. And I think there are a lot of things that we don't consider when it comes to, you know, relationship, or why I want to be in relationship. And a lot of times many people don't find that out until they're actually already in it. And then they realize that this person that was attractive, that was this, that was that, and that was all of these amazing things, now all of a sudden have flaws, or, you know what, they don't believe what I believe, because you all never discussed that. Exactly. You know what? So it's very imperative to know why I want to be in a relationship. And as you said, why do I want to be in a relationship with this particular person? And in the world of sociology, there's a term called social exchange. And basically, to give a layman's definition for that, is that people consider, when it comes to relationships, regardless to what type of relationship that it is, what are they going to get exchanged for what they're giving? And so, regardless to what we may want to believe in, unconditional love, and I just want somebody to love me, and I just want all this kind of stuff like that, relationship is conditional. And so you do have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? You know, and your reasoning may be shallow, but that's your reason, amen, for you wanting to be in a relationship, you know. But you have to be honest with that, and be able to be honest with the person that you're with, or you're desiring to be with, of why you want to do relationship with them. Understood. Let me
ask you this. I don't see this happening a lot for men, because we're fickle creatures to begin with, but I know women tend to be a little more complex than where we are. And so let me ask you this. Do you think, from a woman's standpoint, peer pressure could be a reason why people want to be in a relationship? All my friends are getting married. All my friends got husbands. My friends got baby. She married a wealthy man.
For the sake of conversation. Because I know some needy men.
Really?
Yes, I do. I know some needy men. But anyways, for the sake of conversation, to stay in context of what you're asking, I definitely do think that with certain women, there is this level of peer pressure from other people to feel the need to want to do relationship, even if it's dysfunctional, or they don't even know why they're doing it. You know, my time clock is ticking. I'm getting older. I'm this, I'm that, and all these other things. However, unfortunately, that is a part of why people may choose to do relationship. It's not necessarily a healthy choice, but it's definitely a choice of why people, and in this case, women, choose to be in dysfunctional relationships.
Understood. So from a man's standpoint, I can honestly say until we started having this dialogue, I never thought about the question. You know, we talk about it all the time. We've had previous relationships a whole bit, but really never thought about why I wanted to be in it. And I remember dialoguing with you. One of the things I realized, again, for me being reared up in a church background, I think there is socialization of just natural socialization, and I think there's a socialization that you develop or is developed inside a church society. And inside the church society, exactly, that subculture, inside the subculture of church society, you're taught that, you know what, man, you get married, you have a wife, you raise a family. So even if it's not consciously in the front of your mind, somewhere in your breeding or your programming, it's still there.
Yeah.
And you know what? And we do it even from a dysfunctional place, because a lot of times we'll go into it wrong, and we no one, you know what? There really is no track record. There's no book. There's no, if A, then B, then C on how to do it. So what happens is you do a lot of relationship by trial and error.
That's true.
And in doing relationship by trial and error, you can cause a lot of damage or receive a lot of damage. And then again, that explains to us why they fall apart, because again, we never ask the why, and we allow the conditions of a subculture to form or frame our thought processes about relationships.
And I know for me, in my adult life, the whole concept of marriage, it really came, the influence of it, or the influx of it, really came from that whole church place. But at the same time, they're telling you these things. Oh, you in the church, you saved, you living for Jesus, and you need to be married, you can't be fornicating. And so you do it from that place of not, or you begin to understand, well, I don't want to fornicate, I don't want to be in sin, I don't want to whatever. And they leave out all these other things that are so important. Besides, what he saved, you saved, he's singing the choir, you on the usher board, he in the ministry, you in the ministry, he go to church, he read his Bible, he go to Bible study every Tuesday, he in prayer meeting. I mean, it's so far beyond that, and they don't give those tools.